Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Muslimcast, the podcast of people who want to learn about Islam through books. This is the first podcast of the series about the book of the famous author Ibn Qayyim el Jawziyyah, entitled Patience and Gratitude. So in this episode we're going to talk about how the book defines the word patience. We'll go through some definitions from famous and well-known scholars who are cited in this book. So the first definition is from Abu Atman, and he said the following: so the one who has patience is the one who has trained himself to handle difficulties. So this definition is very interesting in the sense that it introduces the concept of training. So if you are someone who thinks like, oh my god, I'm not patient, and when I want something, I want it right away. So Abu Atman tells us that we can seek patience and we can work on it. So the second definition is a more spiritual one from Amr ibn Uthman al-Makki, who says, patience means to keep close to Allah and to accept calmly the trials He sends without complaining or feeling sad. So this definition is linked to the concept of positivity. So when we are patient in front of like a hardship, it means that we keep positive. So and we can link to this citation to the verse of Surah Al-Qaf, verse 16, where it's cited, so open the quote, "And we have already created man and know what his soul whispers to him, and we are closer to him than his jugular vein." It refers as well to the first surah to the first ayah of the first surah of the Quran, which is Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And so it starts with Alhamdulillah, so we should thank God for all we have and always stay positive no matter what. The third definition is from Al-Khawaz, who says, patience means to adhere to the rules of the Quran and Sunnah. In fact, like the Sunnah is the best example we have of a human being, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, applying the concept of Islam. So as a consequence, it's also the best example of how to attain and how to seek patience. So the fourth definition is from Ali ibn Abi Talib, who says, patience means to seek Allah's help. So when you're in a situation when you need help, the best way to get the help you need is from God. And as a believer, just remembering the love of Allah for us is just a relief. The last definition, the one to last definition, is from Abu Muhammad al-Hariri, who says patience means not seeing any difference between times of ease and times of hardship and being content at all times. So here the author tells us that in his opinion it's impossible for a human being to not distinguish between times of ease and times of hardship. And anyone would know like, hey, this is a time where I'm comfortable, this is a time where I'm not. But ultimately, if you're very, very patient and you're really trained yourself, you might come to this situation where you don't even see the difference, but I really doubt it, to be honest. Then the sixth definition, which is the last one. So the author, we don't know who says this definition, but it says, so open the quote, "To have patience means that one's common sense and religion motives are stronger than one's whims and desires." So this citation introduces the idea of balance by saying are stronger. So the common sense and religion motives are stronger than the whims and the desires. So the author talks about opposing forces that drives us psychologically. So we have two forces: the force that drives us forward, called the driving force, and the force that holds us back, called the restraining force. And you can find this in any book of psychology. Some people will have ease when it comes to patience to avoid haram, and some will have ease when it comes to patience doing the right thing. And the heart of the human being, so our heart, so it's a constant battlefield between like the driving and the restraining force. So this was it for the sixth definition of of what is patience, and we already see like it's very, very broad definitions, and it's not only like wait and be patient. So finish with the definition. So let's look into what the author says more about patient, and he declines it into different and very concrete ways. So the author tells us that patience is everywhere and just takes different forms. So it's called self-control when it's about your stomach, honor when it's about sexual desires, discretion when it's about disclosing secrets, gracefulness when it's refraining from haste, courage when it's refraining from running away, forgiveness if it's not taking revenge, generosity if it's not being stingy. So this exhaustive list gives us a very large scope about patience. And we can see that it's any effort to refrain from haram deeds or any effort to push us to good deeds can be called patience. And all the patience resides in the effort to go against haram and to go towards good things. So the restraining and the driving forces. Yeah, thanks for listening. I'd say in a nutshell that patience has been defined differently by different scholars of Islam. But the takeaway of this podcast will be that you can attain patience by working on yourself to be patient. The author tells us that if we act as if we are patient, it will be second nature and being a couple of times a deliberate effort. So first a deliberate effort, and then it will be like your second nature, you won't even feel it. So I'm deeply convinced that anything can be learned. Patience is a skill, and if we train it, we can gain it. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, whoever tries to be patient, then Allah will help him to be patient. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode about this book. It will be about patience and gratitude, like the different types of patience and when a patient is needed for a Muslim.